Take a breath. I need you to really take that in for a moment. Because what I'm about to walk you through isn't speculation. It's not wishful thinking. It's not me trying to get your hopes up about something that might happen someday. This is about what's happening right now. Someone, and you know exactly who I'm talking about, has crossed a line they never cross. They've done something that has shocked the people around them. They've made a declaration so public, so certain, so irreversible that even they are still processing the weight of what just came out of their mouth. They told people you're going to be their spouse. Not, I'm interested in someone. Not, I'm seeing where things go. Not the vague, non-committal language people use when they're testing the waters. They used the word spouse. They spoke about you with the kind of finality that makes people stop mid-conversation and say, wait, what? When did this happen? And here's what I need you to understand before we go any further: the battle you've been fighting, the uncertainty, the mixed signals, the wondering if they'd ever get clear, the exhausting back and forth between hope and doubt, that battle just ended. Not because you pushed harder. Not because you played it cool or used some strategy. The battle ended because something inside them finally broke open. Something shifted at a level so deep that they couldn't keep it contained anymore. The internal war they've been waging with themselves about you, about commitment, about what they really want, it's over. And they chose you so decisively that they needed the world to know. Can you feel that? The shift in the atmosphere around you? The way something that felt heavy and complicated suddenly feels clear. That's not your imagination. That's the energetic signature of someone who just went all in on you in front of witnesses. Now, I know some of you watching this are thinking, but how do you know this about my situation? And others are thinking, this feels too good to be true. Some of you literally just found out about this in the last few days, maybe even the last few hours, and you clicked on this video because the title described exactly what you're experiencing. Stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal isn't just about what they said. It's about why they said it. It's about what had to happen inside them to reach this level of certainty. And it's about what this means for what comes next. This video is going to take you deep into the transformation that just occurred in this person. We're going to explore the internal revolution that had to take place before they could speak this truth out loud. We're going to look at what made them so certain that they couldn't keep quiet anymore. And we're going to talk about how you navigate this moment with wisdom and grace. Because here's what I'm sensing as I create this: some of you have waited years for this. Some of you have walked through seasons of doubt so dark you wondered if you'd misread everything. Some of you have been holding on to hope by your fingernails, and now that hope just got validated in the most public way possible. But some of you are also feeling something unexpected. You thought you'd feel pure joy when this moment came, and instead, you're feeling complicated. Maybe there's fear mixed in with the relief. Maybe there's a voice asking, is this real? Will they take it back? Maybe you're protecting your heart even as it wants to celebrate. All of that is valid. All of that is welcome here. This isn't about me convincing you of something. This is about me helping you understand what you're already experiencing. This is about giving language to a shift that your soul recognizes but your mind is still catching up to. So let's do this right. Let's take the full time we need to unpack what's happening. Because this moment, this pivot point where someone declares you're their future in front of other people, this is sacred. This deserves our full attention. If this is resonating with you, do me a favor and drop a heart emoji in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know this is your story. The community that gathers around these videos is special, and your presence matters. And if you've been blessed by this content before, or if you can already feel that this video is going to meet you exactly where you are, the super thanks button below is a beautiful way to support the creation of these deep explorations. It helps me dedicate the time needed to bring these messages to life. Alright. Let's go deep. Let's understand what just happened. Let's talk about the battle that's finally over and the person who just declared their intention to marry you to everyone who would listen. Let me paint the picture of what's been unfolding. This person, the one we're talking about, they've been in an internal wrestling match for longer than you probably realize. From the outside, it might have looked like indecision or confusion or fear of commitment. But that's not what this was. This was something much more profound. They've been facing a truth about you that terrified them because of how big it was. Think about that for a moment. Usually, we're afraid of disappointment. We're afraid of investing in something that won't work out. But what happens when someone is afraid because something is exactly what they've always wanted? What happens when the magnitude of what's possible with you is so large that it requires them to become a different version of themselves to meet it? That's what's been happening. Every moment they spent figuring things out was actually them in conversation with their own capacity. Could they rise to this? Could they be the person that a future with you requires? Could they let go of the smaller version of life they've been living and step into something that demands more courage, more vulnerability, more commitment than they've ever given anything? And here's what you need to understand: they didn't wake up one morning with sudden clarity. This has been building. Layer by layer. Experience by experience. Every time they tried to imagine their life without you, something in their chest constricted. Every time they entertained the idea of someone else, nothing felt right. Every time they looked at you, really looked at you, they saw their future staring back at them. But seeing your future and claiming your future are two different things. They could see it. They've been able to see it for a while. But claiming it? That required something to break open inside them. That required them to stop negotiating with themselves. That required them to stop managing other people's opinions and expectations and just tell the truth. So what happened? What was the catalyst that moved them from private knowing to public declaration? For some of you, it was a moment of almost loss. They had a flash of what life would be like if they lost you, and it wasn't theoretical anymore. It was visceral. It was unbearable. And in that moment, all their carefully constructed reasons for waiting dissolved. For others of you, it was the opposite. It was a moment of deep peace. They were thinking about you, maybe in the middle of something ordinary, maybe during a conversation with a friend, and they felt this settling in their soul. This rightness. This sense of, oh. This is it. This is the person. And once they felt that level of certainty, keeping it to themselves felt like lying. For some, it was cumulative. It was watching you navigate something difficult with grace. It was seeing how you treat people. It was noticing the way you make them want to be better. It was 1,000 small observations that built into an undeniable conclusion: they want to do life with you. All of it. The big moments and the boring Tuesdays and everything in between. And for a few of you, it was spiritual. They had an encounter, with God, with the universe, with their own soul, where they received clarity so strong it felt like a download. They just knew. And when you know at that level, you can't unknow it. You can only choose whether you're going to honor it or run from it. They chose to honor it. But here's the part that's so significant: they didn't just tell you. They told other people. They brought witnesses into this. They made it real in a social context. Do you understand the weight of that? When someone tells you privately that they see a future with you, that's meaningful. That's vulnerable. But when someone tells their friends, their family, their co-workers that you're going to be their spouse, they're doing something psychologically and spiritually profound. They're making themselves accountable. They're burning bridges to old patterns. They're telling the universe, I'm serious about this. I'm not leaving myself an exit. This is someone who has decided that protecting their heart matters less than claiming their future. This is someone who has moved from self-protection to self-expression. This is someone who has stopped performing ambivalence and started living in their truth. And what they said about you, let's talk about the language they used. Because words matter. They didn't say partner, or girlfriend, or boyfriend, or keep it vague. They said spouse. They used marriage language. They spoke about you in terms of permanence, covenant, lifetime commitment. That's not casual dating vocabulary. That's, I've already decided, vocabulary. Some of you are finding out about this secondhand. Someone came to you and said, "Did you know they've been telling people you're going to get married?" And you were stunned because you didn't see it coming, at least not this soon, not this publicly. Others of you heard it directly from them, but the context was what shocked you. They said it naturally, like it was already settled, like there was no question about it. Either way, the effect is the same, the uncertainty is over. The wondering has ended. The, "Are they serious about me?" question has been answered with a declaration so public there's no taking it back. Now, pay attention to what's happening in your body as you hear this. Is there excitement? Relief? Fear? Disbelief? All of the above? Whatever you're feeling, let it be there. This is a massive moment. Your nervous system is processing a shift from waiting to receiving. That's not a small transition. What I want you to notice is this: somewhere in you, even if it's buried under protective layers, there's a part of your soul that isn't surprised. There's a part of you that has known this was coming. Maybe you didn't know when or how, but you felt the inevitability of this connection. That knowing is about to become your anchor. Because as we go deeper into this, we're going to need to distinguish between the chaos of your thoughts and the clarity of your inner wisdom. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. Type "chosen" in the comments if this is describing your situation. Let's create some energy around what's happening for you right now. We're just getting started. There's so much more beneath the surface of this moment. Now we need to talk about what this public declaration reveals about where this person is internally. Because what they said is significant, but what made them capable of saying it is where the real story lives. Let's start here. This person has experienced death and resurrection. Not literal death, but ego death. The death of the version of themselves that was governed by fear. The death of the part of them that needed control. The death of their attachment to looking like they have it all figured out. The death of their identity as someone who keeps options open and doesn't commit too fast. Something in them had to die for this declaration to be born. And here's what I'm seeing about that death: it wasn't fast. It wasn't clean. This has been a process that's been happening over weeks, maybe months. Every time they felt pulled toward you but resisted, a little piece of their old self cracked. Every time they tried to talk themselves out of what they were feeling, the argument got weaker. Every time they imagined a future without you, the hollowness became more obvious. They've been in a crucible. And what's emerged is a version of them that's capable of certainty. Think about what certainty requires. It requires you to stop waiting for permission, from other people, from circumstances, from some imaginary future where everything is perfect. It requires you to trust your own discernment more than you fear making a mistake. It requires you to believe that even if things get hard, you're choosing something worth fighting for. This person reached that level of inner authority about you. That's massive. Now, let me tell you what they're experiencing in the wake of making this public. Because it's not all confidence and clarity. There's probably also a thread of vulnerability running through them that they're not fully showing. When you declare something this significant out loud, especially to multiple people, you create a new kind of exposure. You're no longer protected by ambiguity. You can't backtrack without looking flaky. You can't hide behind just seeing where things go anymore. You've staked your reputation, and more importantly, your integrity, on following through. That's scary. Even when it's right, it's scary. So they're probably moving through moments where they feel incredibly solid: yes, this is absolutely what I want, and other moments where their nervous system is catching up, where there's a flutter of, "Oh wow, I really said that. Now I have to show up for this." And you know what? That's healthy. That's human. That's what happens when someone stops performing invincibility and starts living in authentic commitment. But here's what I need you to catch: they're not pulling back. They might be feeling vulnerable, but they're not retreating. They said what they said, and they're standing in it. That tells you everything about where their heart is. Now let's explore the specific transformation that had to happen for them to reach this point. Because there are particular internal shifts that precede a public declaration like this, and understanding them will help you comprehend the magnitude of what just occurred. First shift, from fear of loss to fear of regret. For a long time, they were more afraid of losing themselves in a relationship than they were of losing you. They were more afraid of making the wrong choice than they were of making no choice. But something flipped. They started imagining the future where they let you slip away because they were too cautious, too self-protective, too concerned with maintaining their independence. And that future became more frightening than any risk commitment could pose. When someone reaches the point where the pain of not choosing you exceeds the fear of choosing you, the decision becomes easy. Not comfortable, but easy. Second shift, from private truth to public testimony. There's a phase in every significant realization where you hold it close. You know it, but you're not ready to share it. You're still integrating it, still making sure it's real. This person moved through that phase. They lived with the truth long enough that it became impossible to contain. The declaration to others wasn't impulsive, it was the natural overflow of something that had become undeniable. When truth reaches that level of saturation, silence becomes more uncomfortable than vulnerability. Third shift, from potential to decision. This is the big one. For however long, you existed to them as potential. Beautiful potential, meaningful potential, but still potential. There was still a conversation happening in their mind about whether to actualize it. But potential lives in the realm of possibility. Decision lives in the realm of reality. They just moved you from possibility to reality. They stopped relating to you as, could be my person, and started relating to you as, is my person. That's not a small mental adjustment. That's a complete reorienting of how they hold you in their consciousness. Fourth shift, from self-focus to us-focus. Before this moment, they were probably thinking in terms of, what do I want? What's best for me? What fits my life? That's not selfishness, that's just where most people start. But something shifted them into, what are we creating together? What does this connection want to become? What am I willing to sacrifice for the sake of something bigger than my individual preferences? When someone starts thinking in terms of, we, and, us, without resentment, without feeling like they're losing themselves, that's when you know they've matured into readiness. And here's what all of this means for you. You're not dealing with someone who's trying to convince themselves. You're dealing with someone who has already convinced themselves. The internal work is done. Now they're in the phase of alignment, making their external life match their internal knowing. Do you see the difference? You're not waiting for them to get there. They're already there. What you're witnessing now is implementation. Let me talk for a moment about the people they told. Because who someone chooses as witnesses to their declaration tells you something important. If they told their close friends, the people who know them best, who've seen them in other relationships, who've watched them struggle with commitment, that says they wanted accountability from people who can hold them to this when things get real. If they told their family, especially if their family's opinion matters to them, that says they wanted blessing and inclusion. They wanted you to be woven into their family story before it's official. If they told coworkers or acquaintances, people who didn't even know they were in a serious relationship, that says the truth just burst out of them. They couldn't contain it even in professional contexts. Each of these scenarios reveals something about their state of being. But all of them point to the same conclusion: this isn't a secret they're keeping. This isn't a private fantasy. This is a truth they need the world to know because it's shaping how they see their entire future. And here's something that might surprise you: by telling others before everything is official, they're actually protecting the relationship. They're creating external support structures. They're inviting people to celebrate with them and hold space for this. They're making it harder for their own fear to sabotage what they know is right. That's wisdom. That's maturity. That's someone who understands their own psychology well enough to set themselves up for success. Now, I want to acknowledge something. Some of you watching this are feeling a complicated mix right now. Yes, there's joy. Yes, there's relief. But there might also be an edge of, why did it take so long, or, why did I have to go through all that waiting, or even, can I trust this after everything? Those questions are valid. We're going to address them. But first, I need you to let yourself feel the victory of this moment. Because it is a victory. Not just for the relationship, but for you. For your patience. For your refusal to settle. For your willingness to believe in something even when it looked impossible. You held on. And now the thing you were holding on to is reaching back. Take a moment and just breathe that in. If you're feeling emotional right now, you're not alone. Type "grateful" in the comments. Let's honor what this moment means. And listen, if this video is touching something deep in you, I want you to know that the Super Thanks feature is there if you want to support this work. It's how I'm able to keep showing up to create these deep, specific explorations of what you're experiencing. No pressure, just gratitude if you feel called. Alright. Stay close. We're about to go even deeper into why this happened now and what it means about divine timing. Here's what's going to leave you speechless. It's not just that they declared you're their future spouse. It's why they became so certain. It's what they finally saw that they couldn't see before. It's the specific revelation that moved them from maybe to absolutely. And when I tell you what it is, you're going to recognize it. Because it's been there all along. You've been carrying it. They just couldn't perceive it until now. What made them certain is this: they finally saw how you love. Not that you love them, they probably knew that already. But how you love. The quality of it. The consistency of it. The way it doesn't waver based on their performance. The way it creates safety without smothering. The way it calls them higher without shaming where they are. The way it's strong enough to be honest and soft enough to be kind. They saw your love for what it actually is, a force that makes life better in ways they didn't know life could be better. Let me break this down because it's important. Most people think they want to be loved in a certain way, with passion, with romance, with grand gestures. And those things are beautiful. But what actually makes someone certain about forever isn't the intensity of the feeling. It's the sustainability of the peace. You gave them peace. Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of groundedness. Not the elimination of conflict, but the assurance that conflict doesn't mean abandonment. Not the promise that you'll never disappoint them, but the demonstration that when you do, you repair. You come back. You stay. That kind of love is rare. And when someone experiences it after a lifetime of conditional, performance-based, anxiety-inducing relationship dynamics, it doesn't just feel good. It feels like home. They realized you're home. And once someone realizes that, they don't want to be anywhere else. But here's the layer beneath that: it's not just your love for them. It's who you are when you think no one's watching. It's your character. It's your integrity. It's the way you treat service workers and handle frustration and respond to other people's success. It's the private version of you that matches the public version of you. They've been observing. More carefully than you realized. They've been watching how you navigate stress, how you deal with disappointment, how you show up for people you love. They've been paying attention to whether your words match your actions. Whether you're the same person in different contexts. Whether you're someone they can trust not just with their heart, but with their life. And what they saw passed every test. You know that saying, when someone shows you who they are, believe them? That goes both directions. You've been showing them who you are through 1,000 small moments that you probably didn't think mattered. But they all mattered. They were all data points. And the pattern that emerged was undeniable. You're the real thing. That's what made them certain. Not your potential. Not your promise. Your actual, demonstrated reality. And here's what I'm hearing in the spiritual realm about this: there's been a divine strategy at work that neither of you fully understood while it was happening. Every delay wasn't a denial. Every moment they seemed uncertain wasn't them rejecting you, it was them being prepared. Because here's the truth, if they had committed before they were ready, before they had done the internal work, before they had seen what they needed to see, the foundation wouldn't have been strong enough to hold what you're building. The waiting wasn't wasted. The waiting was purposeful. It was creating capacity in them. It was maturing them into someone who could receive you properly. It was teaching them to recognize treasure when they see it. Because let's be honest, not everyone knows how to value what's valuable. Some people are so conditioned to chaos and drama that they mistake peace for boredom. Some people are so used to earning love that they don't trust love that's freely given. Some people are so defended that they interpret safety as a trap. This person had to unlearn some things. They had to deprogram from previous relationship patterns. They had to heal wounds you didn't cause. They had to develop eyes to see and ears to hear what was being offered. And now they can see. Now they can hear. Now they can receive. The declaration they just made isn't coming from infatuation or desperation or social pressure. It's coming from a place of deep, settled knowing that emerged from a complete internal restructuring. Let me tell you what else they're certain about now that might surprise you. They're certain they're ready. Not perfect, but ready. They're certain they want to do the work that committed partnership requires. They're certain that whatever challenges come, they want to face them with you rather than face anything without you. This isn't naive optimism. This is matured hope. This is someone who has counted the cost and decided you're worth it. You're worth changing for. You're worth growing for. You're worth showing up every day for. And here's where it gets really beautiful, in making you their choice publicly, they've made themselves accountable to becoming the person you deserve. They've created external witnesses to their intention. They've told the universe, I'm stepping into this. Hold me to it. That's courage. That's integrity. That's someone who understands that words create worlds, and they just spoke a world into existence where you are their spouse. Now, let's talk about what made them ready to use that word specifically, spouse. Not just boyfriend, girlfriend, partner. Spouse. Marriage language. Covenant language. When someone reaches for that vocabulary, they've crossed a psychological threshold. They've moved from dating mindset to building mindset. They're not thinking about the next few months. They're thinking about the next few decades. They're thinking about who they want beside them when things fall apart and when things come together. They're thinking about who they want to raise children with, grow old with, build a legacy with. They're thinking about life with you. Not a relationship. Life. And that distinction, between being in a relationship and doing life together, that's everything. Relationships can be compartmentalized. Life is integrated. Life is waking up and making decisions and dealing with hard things and celebrating beautiful things and figuring out money and navigating families and creating traditions and becoming a team. They want that with you. They're certain they want that with you. So certain that they needed to say it out loud to people who matter. And here's what I'm seeing about the timing, this didn't happen randomly. This happened exactly when it needed to happen. Right when you needed confirmation that you weren't crazy for believing in this. Right when you were at the edge of your faith. Right when you needed evidence that patience pays off. The universe has a way of rewarding endurance with breakthrough right when you're about to give up. That's not coincidence. That's divine choreography. So no, you're not imagining this. No, it's not too good to be true. No, they're not going to suddenly change their mind. What you're experiencing is the manifestation of something that's been in motion in the invisible realm for longer than you know. It's finally becoming visible. It's finally becoming audible. It's finally becoming undeniable. Type, "It's happening," in the comments if you feel this truth landing in your spirit. Let's acknowledge the miracle of divine timing together. We're not done. Stay with me. Because now we need to talk about how you navigate this new reality with grace and wisdom. Alright. So this person just publicly declared you're going to be their spouse, and now you're holding this massive, beautiful, slightly terrifying reality. Let's talk about how you move forward from here in a way that honors both the magnitude of this moment and your own wisdom. Because here's what I'm noticing: some of you are ready to run full speed into celebration, and others of you are holding back, protecting yourselves from potential disappointment. Both responses are human. Both make sense. But neither extreme is going to serve you best. What you need is centered openness. Let me explain what that means. Principle 1: receive without collapsing. This is huge news. Let yourself be happy. Let yourself feel relief. Let yourself acknowledge that something you've hoped for is happening. But don't collapse your entire sense of self into this relationship. Don't abandon your own life, your own goals, your own identity because someone finally claimed you. Receiving well means taking in the good without becoming dependent on it for your oxygen. It means celebrating without losing yourself. It means letting this relationship enhance your life rather than become your entire life. This person fell in love with you, the whole, complete, purposeful person you were before this declaration. Don't stop being that person now that they've said yes. That version of you is what they want to marry. Stay in your own fullness even as you make space for partnership. Principle 2: trust but verify. Now, before you think I'm telling you to be suspicious, that's not what this means. What this means is, watch how their actions align with their words over time. You can trust what they said, they meant it when they said it. But words are the beginning, not the end. Real commitment is demonstrated over time through consistency. Through showing up when it's hard. Through having difficult conversations instead of running away. Through integration, introducing you to their world, including you in their decisions, making space for you in their daily life. You don't have to interrogate them or test them. Just pay attention. Notice if their behavior matches their declaration. Notice if they're building toward the future they announced or if they're still living like someone who hasn't made up their mind. This isn't cynicism. This is wisdom. And here's the beautiful thing: if they're genuine, which everything I'm sensing says they are, watching them follow through is going to deepen your trust and your peace. Every time they show up consistent with what they declared, you'll relax a little more. You'll believe a little more. You'll open a little more. Principle 3: communicate your pace. Just because they're ready to call you their future spouse doesn't mean you have to move at their exact speed. You're allowed to have your own timing for things. You're allowed to say, "I'm so grateful you see a future with me, and I'm also still processing what that means and what I need to feel safe stepping into it fully." Healthy relationships honor both people's pacing. They create space for different readiness levels without making anyone wrong. If you need time to let this settle in your spirit before you're ready to start planning a wedding, that's okay. If you need reassurance in the form of consistent action before you let your guard completely down, that's okay. Tell them what you need. Not as an ultimatum, but as an invitation into your inner world. Say, "Here's what would help me feel secure as we move forward." Give them the roadmap to love you well. Most people want to get it right. They just need to know what right looks like for you. Principle 4: protect the sacred. Now that this is public, there are going to be opinions. People are going to have thoughts about your timeline, your relationship, your decisions. Some of those opinions will be supportive. Some will be skeptical. Some will be invasive. Some will be projections of other people's relationship wounds. You cannot let other people's voices drown out your own knowing. You cannot let external doubt infect internal certainty. You cannot let people who've never met your person or understood your journey tell you what this means or doesn't mean. Protect what's sacred. Keep certain things private. Don't feel obligated to defend or explain your relationship to people who aren't safe. Create boundaries around this precious thing you're building. And that includes social media. You don't have to broadcast every moment to prove this is real. In fact, some of the most solid relationships are the ones that don't perform for an audience. Let your relationship exist primarily between the two of you, with selective sharing to people who've earned access to your private life. Principle 5, build, don't just dream. It's easy to live in the fantasy of what's coming. Engagement, wedding, married life, it's exciting to imagine. But don't spend so much time in the future that you miss building in the present. The best preparation for marriage is creating healthy relationship patterns now. It's learning how to fight fair. How to apologize sincerely. How to listen without defensiveness. How to express needs without manipulation. How to support each other's growth even when it's inconvenient. Use this season to build a foundation that can hold a lifetime. Don't rush to the altar if you haven't done the work of learning each other's communication styles, conflict patterns, values around money, visions for family, and all the unsexy but crucial stuff that makes or breaks a marriage. Forever is built in the dailiness of today. Principle 6, remember who got you here. Whether you call it God, the universe, divine timing, or your own inner guidance, honor the source that sustained you through the waiting. Don't let the arrival of what you asked for make you forget who helped you survive until it arrived. Keep your spiritual practices. Keep your prayer life. Keep your gratitude practice. Keep your connection to whatever grounds you. Because you're going to need that foundation not just in waiting seasons, but in fulfillment seasons too. Joy requires as much grounding as pain does. Maybe more. Because it's easy to lose yourself in happiness in a way that leaves you unmoored. Stay rooted. Stay connected. Stay grateful. Principle 7, give them space to show up. Here's a subtle one, now that they've made this public declaration, they might be feeling pressure to be perfect. To prove they meant it. To never have a moment of doubt or fear or overwhelm. Give them space to be human. Let them have moments where they're nervous about the bigness of this commitment without making it mean they're backing out. Let them have days where they're processing without making it mean they regret their words. The declaration was true. And it's also true that stepping into a lifelong commitment is vulnerable for everyone involved. Creating space for your person to be both certain and human, both committed and occasionally scared, is a gift that will strengthen your foundation. Security in a relationship doesn't come from your partner never feeling fear. It comes from both of you being able to hold fear together and choose each other anyway. Now, before we move toward the close, I want to ask, what principle here landed most for you? Drop one word in the comments describing what you most need to remember as you navigate this new chapter. Let's learn from each other's wisdom. If this guidance is meeting you where you are, and you want to honor the work that goes into creating these deep dives, the Super Thanks feature is a beautiful way to do that. It allows me to keep showing up for this community with this level of specificity and care. Alright. Let's bring this home. Let's talk about what this all means and where you go from here. So here you are. The battle is finally over. The person you've been hoping for just told the world you're going to be their spouse. And what made them this certain, the journey they walked internally to get to this declaration, is exactly as profound as the title promised. They saw you. Really saw you. They saw how you love. They saw your character. They saw the kind of partner you'd be not just in the honeymoon phase, but in the hard, boring, beautiful middle of life. And once they saw that, they couldn't unsee it. They couldn't go back to pretending they weren't sure. They couldn't keep hedging. So they spoke. Publicly. With witnesses. With language that announced intention and future and forever. And now everything is different. Not because the relationship is suddenly perfect or because there won't be challenges ahead. Everything is different because the foundation just got anchored. The question mark became a period. The maybe became a yes. That changes how you breathe. That changes how you plan. That changes how you hold hope. What I want to leave you with is this: you didn't manipulate this moment into existence. You didn't force their hand or play games or trick them into seeing your value. What happened is that you stayed genuine, and someone finally became capable of recognizing what that means. Your authenticity was the magnet. Your consistency was the proof. Your refusal to diminish yourself to make them comfortable was the standard they had to rise to meet. And they did. They rose. They met you. They claimed you. That's not luck. That's alignment. That's what happens when someone stops running from their own heart and starts listening to it. Now, as you step into this next chapter, remember that public declarations are beautiful, but private devotion is what lasts. The statement they made to others was significant, but what matters more is the statement they're about to make to you every single day through their choices, their presence, their willingness to grow. Watch for that. Celebrate that. Build on that. And give yourself permission to enjoy this. After everything you've walked through, the uncertainty, the waiting, the moments you wondered if you were being foolish to hope, you get to savor the relief of clarity. You get to experience the joy of being chosen. You get to rest in the knowledge that your faith wasn't misplaced. This person sees you as their future. And based on everything I'm sensing, they're going to spend that future proving that this declaration wasn't just a beautiful moment, it was a sacred commitment they're going to honor with their whole life. So breathe. Smile. Let the tears come if they need to. Let the laughter bubble up. Let your soul do that little dance it does when something you've prayed for finally manifests. You're not dreaming. This is real. This is happening. The battle is over, and you won, not by defeating anyone, but by remaining yourself until someone recognized what a gift that is. And to the person who made that declaration, if you're watching this because someone sent it to you, if you're here because you want to understand what this moment means to the person you just claimed, thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for being brave enough to say out loud what your heart has been whispering. Now honor that declaration with your presence. Show up for the person you announced to the world. Build the life you just said you wanted. Prove that your words weren't just emotion, they were prophecy. To everyone watching, this is your story. This is your moment. This is the breakthrough you've been believing for. Don't let fear steal your joy. Don't let past hurt make you miss present blessing. Don't let protection keep you from receiving. Open your hands. Open your heart. Let this be as good as it looks. Let it be as real as it feels. Let it be the beginning of something that exceeds even your highest hopes. The battle is finally over. Rest in that. Celebrate that. And then, when you're ready, start building the future that just became possible. If this message touched your soul, if it gave you language for what you're experiencing, if it helped you understand the magnitude of what's happening in your life right now, do me one last favor, share this video with someone who needs it. Someone who's still in their waiting season. Someone who needs to hear that declarations like this really do happen. Someone who needs to know that patience pays off. And drop one final comment. Tell me, what happens next for you? What's the first step you're taking into this new reality? Let's celebrate together. I'm so honored I got to walk through this moment with you. I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so excited for everything that's about to unfold in your life. You deserve this. You really do. And I'm thrilled that someone finally sees that clearly enough to tell the whole world. Blessings on your journey forward. Blessings on this relationship. Blessings on the future you're building. Until next time, stay in your power, trust your path, and remember, the best is yet to come. With so much love, I'll see you in the next video.